Many of you probably stumbled upon the expression fourth-gen girl groups curse often, especially during these days. But what does it mean? And why is it a bit contradictory? Unless you lived under a rock for the past year, you'll know that 2022 has definitely been the year of girl groups. Girl groups dominated all kinds of charts, released bob after bob. There were many legendary girl groups debut, and all the songs most iconic of this year were all released by girl groups. So, everything should be good, right? Well, not exactly. Only this year, around 15 female idols left their groups for a reason or another, and many girl groups disbanded. So why exactly all this success and profit this year does not reflect into the longevity of a group or of the idols? Let's dig a bit deeper. First of all, I will list the name of the female idols who left their groups this year, exploring the different reasons that they had for leaving, and the groups that disbanded this year. But for both the topics, I will focus on the ones that I personally cared the most. Then I'm gonna analyze why there is this current phenomenon and the contrast between this curse and the giant success that girl groups had this year. So, let's go. Let me start by the most recent one and the one that personally hurt me the most, which is Jinni of NMIXX. Jinni's situation is quite peculiar compared to the others that I am gonna cover because it was very sudden and unexplained, and we don't still have a clear reason as why she left the group. On top of that, NMIXX is under JYP, which is one of the big four companies, so an idol of JYP leaving its group is not something you see very often. Plus, Jinni trained for 6 years and they debuted just 9 months ago, so that was very strange and unexpected. There are, of course, many theories, and I honestly don't know what to believe. Apparently, Jinni was originally the center of NMIXX along Kyujin, I think, but she was then depromoted, as can be seen in DICE, where Kyujin was evidently the center and had a lot of lines. Not gonna lie, I noticed too, as many other people did, that during DICE promotions, Jinni was a bit off and didn't seem that happy and enthusiastic to be on stage as when she was in OO, but I never really thought about it that much. It's just something that I slightly noticed, but I didn't know about this whole depromotion thing. Then apparently on a recent live on Bumble, she both said that she wasn't a good dancer, thus showing self-esteem issues, which could be a reason why she left, by the way. But at the same time, she said that she was very excited for their next upcoming comeback, so that's why fans were taken so aback by this. What adds even more drama is that recently JYP removed all Jinni's pictures from their Instagram page, which, it is a bit weird considering that something like this has not been done in cases much worse than this. For example, when Garam left LE SSERAFIM due to her bullying scandal, so it looks like Jinni could have done something bad, and thus that she was kicked out, but at the same time, in their official statement, JYP said that Jinni left due to personal issues. So, if she would have done something wrong, they probably would have exposed her, right? If not for anything, just to cover their asses and justify her sudden leaving the group. Because that's something that I fear could drive away many fans, myself included, honestly. It's not for anything, it's just that Jinni was my bias and NMIXX performances without her are simply not the same. Anyway, I hope Jinni is well and that she'll have the chance to re-debut if she wants to, cause she's so talented and such a star material, it would honestly be a shame. Moving on, we have another recent removal from a group, which was true of LOONA. This was definitely less unexpected than Jinni leaving NMIXX. In fact, everyone thought it would have happened much sooner. It's not a secret that back to January 2022, Chu filed an injunction against Blackberry Creative to nullify her contract. Then she was absent in their tour, and in their comeback flipped that, and then just a month ago or so, Blackberry removed her from the group due to her alleged abusive behavior due to the staff members, which is something that the general public doesn't exactly believe and completely backfired Blackberry, since it was revealed that the LOONA member never got paid, despite having debuted several years ago. Moreover, just the other day, Dispatch released an expose about True and Blockberry, so I think it's safe to say that the drama is far from over, especially if we consider that Luna will make a comeback the 3rd of January that Orbis are boycotting due to the girls' mistreatment. By the way, actually, there's an update about that because the comeback has been postponed indefinitely, which maybe will mean that it is never going to happen again. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's the first time in K-pop history that the fans of a group are actively trying to disband it for their own sake. So we'll see how this whole thing goes, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna disband because, I mean, if no one is gonna buy their album, how can you exactly support a group? Moving on, briefly covering the other cases, 2022 was also the year in which Jiyeon left unexpectedly Purple Kiss due to health reasons. This hurts too, to be honest, because Purple Kiss are in my semi-stan list, and I didn't see this coming at all. I have to be honest though, Jiyeon was the member that caught my attention the least, so I wasn't the heartbroken when I heard the news, but still. Almost the same thing happened when it was announced that Ella and Satbiel were leaving Pixie, also due to health reasons. Ella didn't participate in their latest comeback, Villain, back in July because she was in hiatus due to health reasons, so this wasn't exactly out of the blue, but it was for Satbiel. Again, Pixie are in my semi-stan list. Their lore and concept is so cool and unique, but I was and partially still am kind of worried for their future. Because for a new group losing 2 members, which were quite important also since Ella was the leader and main vocalist and Satbiel was the lead rapper, and they both wrote the lyrics of some of Pixie's songs and were both involved in the creative process. But I mean, they did good to take a break if their health was suffering, if that's really the truth, by the way, and I can only imagine how hard it must have been for them. Then we got Hyejeon and Jian of Lightsum, who were suddenly removed from the group since Cube wanted to, quote, reorganize the group. Cube is seriously the worst company ever. A lot of people suspect that they want to change Lightsum concept into a sexy one, and so they decided to cut off the only 2 minors of the group. We'll see about that. Then there's also Judy and Youngyeon of Black Swan, who graduated from the group. That's how they called it. Anyway, now leaving the group with all non-Korean members. Honestly, I always felt sorry for Judy and Youngyeon when the whole Fatu versus Leia feud was going on. I'm sure they were full of that shit, and they are so relieved right now. Good for them. Other idols we lost this year are Naeun of A-Pink, Gio of Oh My Girl, and Gyuri of From Is 9. All 3 of them left during renewal time of their contracts in order to pursue their careers in acting. So thankfully not a lot of drama in here. By the way, all of them were among the ones that caught my attention the most, even if I don't stand their groups, so I'm sad that they left, but I'm happy for them. Finally, other idols leaving were Dennis of Secret Number, Jiyeon of Weekly, Sohee of Chinlin, and Kinga Ram of Le Seraphim due to her bullying scandal, as we all know, so I'm definitely not gonna recap that. Moving on to the groups that disbanded, the first that I wanna cover is Bugaboo, because it was announced the same day that Jinny left Animix and I couldn't be sadder. I absolutely loved Bugaboo debut, it was super catchy, fun, quirky, and with a super cool choreo. I found it super weird that their first comeback was after 8 months from their first release, because it's a lot of absence for a group that just debuted, especially if it's from a small company. I mean, I don't really get why they waited so long. You could say that it was due to financial problems, but then why debuting a group in the first place? Just to make it disband after one comeback? That's something I will never get. The same thing happened with another group that I liked a lot, which was Hot Issue. I know that Gratata is actually a terrible song, but I liked it. I don't know what to tell you. Also, Icons was super cool. I don't know, they managed to release these girl crush songs, kind of basic, but adding it something that makes it stand out. The shoulder movement of Icons' choreo lives in my mind rent-free, for example. And then, out of the blue, even if the girls just said that they were working for their upcoming comeback, bam, the disbanding announcement was dropped. I honestly don't get it, I swear. I mean, it seems that companies nowadays are expecting giant success after just one release, even if they're a small company, and come on, the chances of that happening are like almost zero. Plus Bugaboo and Hot Issue, even if Nugu groups, were definitely getting attention, especially if we consider that they just debuted, so I will never understand the sense of such choices, and it's such a shame, honestly. Unfortunately, Bandit 2 disbanded this year, which, I mean, it wasn't exactly out of the blue, since before Venom they were on hiatus for 2 years, but it doesn't make this situation suck any less. Their titles are all bops, and the company has obviously failed in managing the groups well, since they weren't able to make them grow, despite the success that Dumb had, for example. I don't know if they expected to blow up with Venom, and when they saw that it didn't happen, they decided to give up on the group. It saddens me deeply, though. Lastly, CLC disbanded officially, even though it was obvious that that was gonna happen since it has been 2 years since their last release. Cube really sucks, I can't even. Worst company ever. Unfortunately, many other groups disbanded in 2022, such as Lunar Solar, Bling Bling, April, We Girls, Ariats, G-Reyes, Red Square, Fenit, ICE, Girl Kind, Blue Fox, Dia, and Botopass, which I know it was quite a controversial group, but their song Flamingo is a freaking bop, and the choreo is one of my favorite K-pop choreographies ever, so I'm a bit sad about it. So, let's do the sums, shall we? Even if this year has been dominated by girl groups and they are a big step ahead of boy groups right now, so many idols are leaving their groups and so many girl groups are disbanding. But actually, if you think about it, these two things are not that in contradiction. I mean, the stakes are so high right now with girl groups, the competition has gotten so high with all the monster rookies that are around, so it's not really surprising that many underrated girl groups got disbanded. It's just that there are so many that seeing them written on a page, it's quite upsetting. About the many 4Gen idols that are getting out of their groups or that are on a hiatus, many people think it's weird, but that too actually makes a lot of sense. With the intense social media bullying and hate and all the pressure that they are under, the constant work and dieting, being under the scrutiny for every little thing, I mean, it's almost natural that they want to distance themselves, even with all the years of training. The majority of the idols leave due to personal reasons or health issues, which is just a nice way to say that they couldn't stand the idol life anymore. All this makes even more sense with a smaller agency because they have to pay back their trainee fees, and if their music isn't successful, they can put a huge burden on them financially. So they don't even have the pro of having a financial stability. But I can see also how being in a bigger agency comes with more public criticism. You really have to keep your confidence and not let others' words affect you too much, which is not always easy, let's be honest. And then of course there are the idols who simply wanted to change career or dedicate themselves to other projects after being in a group so many years, which is totally understandable, especially if you consider that normally an idol debut when he's a teenager, so with all of his life ahead. So yeah, I think that the so-called 4Gen girl groups curse is something that has actually always been there due to how the K-pop world works, how it's toxic and tough, and can really put a toll on your mental health, or you just grow after a lot of years of being in the industry and you realize that the life is not for you anymore. I think that a lot of this situation happened in 2022, both for coincidence, honestly, also due to COVID. I mean, a lot of small agencies lost a big number of money due to COVID, and I think that this happened also due to the high competitiveness for girl groups that there was this year. So, no, I don't think that the 4Gen girl groups are cursed. If anything, I think they stepped up so much, and the 2023 will be another great year for girl groups. Of course, with all this success, there is always someone who suffers and pays the consequences. And this someone are small companies of no girl groups. So I think it's fair to say that we could see a lot of other disbandments in 2023, sadly. Okay guys, this concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned because in the next days I'm gonna post a lot of end of the year content that I'm working on. I'm gonna post my best 100 K-pop songs of the year, my best 10 releases. I'm gonna rank girl groups debut of 2022, and I'm gonna post my first ever vlog of the Blackpink concert in Copenhagen. So I hope to see you very soon. Bye.